Hey everyone, Richard Metalfan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into an album from one of my personal favorite bands, and hard to believe this album came out 10 years ago today. And as you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into The Way of All Flesh by Gojira. This is the band's, I believe, fourth album, released October 13th, 2008 through Roadrunner Records. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Gojira, they're a metal band hailing all the way from France. These guys have been around since probably 2001, I believe, or sometimes in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and I discovered Gojira about a couple of years ago, heard some of their stuff, so I went and checked them out. I really dug what I heard. Um, and I consider Gojira to be a lot of people would consider them the heaviest matter of all. I kind of have to agree. And same thing with this album, which is the follow up to their previous album from, I believe it was called From Mars to Sirius, which in my opinion is still my favorite Gojira album. But this album is, I believe, a good follow up. Just one thing to know about is just the production. The production is just superb. Um, like like the vocals, like Joe Duplantier's vocals are just so godly, just gnarly. Like it just same and just the guitar tone on this album is just beefy, just so heavy, and just like the weird stuff that they do with the guitars, like pick scrapes, slides, and everything. The bass is pretty audible on this album. You could definitely hear it well in the mix, and the drumming. I mean, Mario Duplantier's drumming is just insanely good. Like I don't know how he does it, but he just does it really good. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now the album starts off with the song called Ouroboros, which shows off some amazing guitar play. It sort of like gives you sort of like the taste of how good Gojira is technically, while progressing to sort of like some very catchy death metal song. And then following up on that song is Toxic Garbage Island, which is extremely heavy and very well executed. It never gets boring, and it's just pounds away like a freight train going from music into your brain. And A Sight to Behold, which in my opinion is probably the weirdest song on the album, as it sounds like a cross between death metal and techno. No, but for some reason, I don't know, Gojira really pulls it off, and it creates perhaps one of the best tracks on the album. Then we go into Yama's Messenger, which is just straightforward, no bullshit, balls to the wall death metal. It was something that, like I said, just Gojira does extremely well, and enough said. And then, like, so going into that is Silver Chord, which seems to be an interlude. It's very soft, melodic, and peaceful, with sort of like no singing as it makes you feel calm and relaxed. It somehow doesn't it seems a little bit out of place a little bit. It's sort of like just different from the rest of the album. You know that soft song is always going to be on a metal record. Perhaps it's sort of like meant to be. It's something that could be compared to, let's say, the song Unicorn from the previous album From Mars to Sirius. And then it goes right back into the death metal with all the tears, which, like I said, similar to Yama's Messenger, is just straightforward death metal on there. And after that comes Adoration of for None, which blows me right out the water. It's very difficult to pick the best song on the album, but this is pretty much a strong contender. Like it also has, I believe, guest vocals from Randy Blythe from Lamb of God, and it just works flawlessly. And it starts off very heavy. I mean, it stays that way from beginning to end. And then next up is what a lot of people would I consider the epic of the album, which is The Art of Dying, which is a long song, which is pretty much 10 minutes long, which starts out with some really good tribal drumming, building up into the first chaotic verse, so then into a more melodic main part of the song. And a lot of the track is purely instrumental, and it works great for the musicians on this level. Well, like Mario's really shows off his highly impressive skills on this track, and is perhaps the favorite out of the bunch. Esoteric Surgery is faster and more melodic than most of the others, which is not a bad thing at all, as it executed properly as I would expect from Gojira, and is perhaps the most accessible song on the album, together with Vacuity, but it's still heavy as hell. And then Vacuity, the next song, is just a pounding, heavy, ear smashing track, and I love every second of it. And if you haven't heard of it, go do it now. Now together, it's a great way to be lured to serve like the magic world of Gojira. Wolf Down the Earth, which is nothing special and is perhaps the most boring song on the disc, which I don't know, it just doesn't really do much for me. And then the last song is the title track of the album, The Way of All Flesh, which is extremely heavy and just classic Gojira. It's a great song, it's nothing more to be said. Now, overall, The Way of All Flesh by Gojira is a pretty good album. Like I said, honestly, I don't think Gojira has never made a bad album, and I don't think they'll ever will. So if I were to give this album a score, I'd probably give this a solid 9 out of 10. So yeah, that's my review of The Way of All Flesh, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the album. See you all in the next video, and keep it metal.